Hey, welcome my math friends to our first video of the second semester. I hope everyone's second semester has started out well. I feel like my second semester has started out almost perfect. I really enjoy the new math classes. Most of you are very familiar faces. Some of you got moved around from one hour to the other. A few new students. I think we have a really good mix in all three of our classes. Good chemistry, very different feeling to each class, but all of you very positive, and I hope that we're going to be very productive this semester. So looking forward to working with everyone. I'm also really looking forward to this rice experiment that we talked about on Monday. Hopefully we'll be able to start it either today or tomorrow. Thank you, Angel, for bringing in a jar, and hopefully someone else will bring in a jar tomorrow. Maybe I can find a third one. But that rice experiment, I think, is going to be a great reminder to us all about how powerful our consciousness is and how important it is for us to be attentive, to pay attention to where we put our attention. Because remember, where you place your attention, that's where your consciousness is going to go to, and that's where you're going to grow into. So I'm going to always be reminding you to bring your attention to what is important, what is wholesome. And during this hour, it's almost always going to be math. Sometimes it's important to bring your attention to yourself, because let me tell you, you are the most important thing, maybe in the world, is yourself. So you always want to bring some attention to yourself. Try not to distract yourself from yourself. A lot of times when people are, alone, you don't want to be alone. So you start listening to music, you start watching videos, you do anything else at all to distract yourself. And I see it in math class a lot. Sometimes you want to distract yourself away from the math, and you start just watching random videos and listening to music. I'm going to really, really encourage you, invite you to eliminate that slowly. It takes some time. Some of you are like addicted to that kind of distraction. So it may take some of you time, but I will work on that with you every day and constantly try to guide you back, bring your attention back to the math. So we're starting this semester with your foundation. Math foundations. You've all heard the stories. The man who builds his house on a foundation of sand. It can look good, you can build it fast. A storm comes, some bad weather comes, stress comes, what happens to the foundation? Right? The foundation, it just washes away. It has creaks, it has cracks. The house crumbles down, it teeters, it totters. That's what happens if you don't have a strong foundation. When you're building something, you want to create a very sound, strong foundation. Then you can build on top of that foundation. And that's what you're doing in this math class. You are building a strong foundation. For some of you, you're repairing your foundation, because some of you went through too quickly. As you were younger, you didn't really pay close enough attention. You didn't really understand every aspect of math, like saying fractions, decimals, least common multiple, how to solve simple equations, lines, all these different little fundamental, very important, basic building blocks. You kind of just went through too quick. Didn't have enough time to practice. Didn't bring enough attention to it. And now here you are, and sometimes as you start to build some more math, you feel a little wobbly. And that's what happens when you have a test and you get a 60%. That's like wobble. Nobody likes that feeling. You want to feel strong and sound. So that's why we're going to work on your foundation here every day. We started with fractions. Yesterday, fractions, a great place to start, because they just incorporate so much. They incorporate integers, which means negative, positive numbers, through the numerators and denominators, right? They incorporate finding least common multiple, so that you can find the common denominators. They incorporate basic operations, multiplication, division. Lots of good stuff in fractions. Yesterday's multiplying and dividing fractions went pretty well. Today, adding, subtracting fractions. For a lot of you, a little more challenging, because you have to find those common denominators first. So if you need some help with that, I'm making a second video to play. You can watch that, a little tutorial, or just, if you're pretty good, get to the problems, practice the problems, at least an 80% on them before you start your E2020, okay? So one more word for your life lesson today. I know I got to cut this video. I don't want to let it get too long. Speaking about foundations and speaking about attention, I really want to encourage you to build a strong foundation, not only in your math, but build a strong foundation, start to lay down a strong foundation for your life, right? It sounds pretty big. It's not big. Your life is very simple. Your life is what's happening right now as you watch this video. That's it. That is your whole life, is what's happening right now. So much of your time, all time, as humans, we think our life is about what might happen, the future, or what's already happened. We'll spend a lot of effort and energy thinking about these things in our head. Oh, what might happen tomorrow? What's going to happen here? What did I do last week? And oh gosh, I feel bad about that. The more you do that, the more you distract yourself from being present right now, and you're not even awake for your own life. So you want to learn to wake up, experience your life the way it is, what's happening right now. That, my friends, is a very important lesson that will lead you to feeling simply better on a daily basis. There's so much to talk about in that. I can talk about that later. But it's an important thing in school, especially in your math classes. You'll know this. You'll know that you're not doing a good job of it and you need to try again if you start to feel bored. Okay, I hear kids all the time, I'm bored. I'm bored. Boring, I want to end it with this. Remember, boring or being bored is nothing but a feeling. It's a feeling that's inside of you and that you have complete control over. Think about that. Most of you think the opposite. You think the outside world has to be either really exciting enough or stimulating or interesting, and the outside world is responsible to make you like interested or engaged, or the outside world is responsible for when you're bored. So you say, oh, the reason I'm bored with these math problems are boring. No, that feeling of being bored comes when you withdraw your attention from what's happening now. That's all it is. If you bring your attention back to the current moment right now, to those problems, to the teacher if they're talking, whatever it is, if you can bring your attention back to that and start to focus what's happening, you won't feel bored anymore. I guarantee it. Don't take my word for it. Try it. Experiment. So remember that when you start to fall into that trap of thinking, oh, I feel bored, and it's because of what's happening around me, it's making me bored, you lose power. You give up power. You become less powerful. You become weaker. If you take responsibility and say, oh, I have the power. If I bring my attention back to the current moment, if I bring my attention back to what's happening now, I won't feel bored anymore. I will engage myself in this. So try it in your math class, because it's challenging. It's challenging to do it in math. If you can do it in your math class, you can do it almost anywhere. So it's a great little skill to develop, and it will lead to all sorts of wonderful things in your life as you progress and as you grow. Try it, experiment with it. Let me know how it comes out. So that's enough for the life lessons today. If you need some help on your warm-up, watch that next video specifically on fractions, or if you're good to go, work at it. I will see you in the real world.